What is good? Pimp my team. Pimp my team for the finals. Here we are. Big video. Apology, guys. I am a little bit late to this one. Couple of meetings about different things, but all exciting stuff. All exciting stuff. Now, Pimp my team this week is going to work the same, but the big difference is we're now well into the finals. So, in amongst the final series, it's a very important time for a lot of head-to-head coaches. And tell you what, if you're a chance at winning your league, I think you have to go hard this week. Is my big piece of advice. Now, who have we got today? Limp Biscuit, how's it going, man? All my homies won their head-to-head matchups and have a bye this week. Oh well, they're doing a bit better than you then. Yeah, that's a rough go. But hey, unless you're one of them too. Hopefully, you're one of them too who also has that bye coming up. All right, let's get right into it here. We've got some teams coming up. So Juicy 90s up first. Let's see this roster. So, what are we looking at? Looking at Watson, right, Cotter, Plath, Yo, all good. Bloor for feeder, Galvin, Cleary. Yeah, this is a clean roster. Really strong backline as well. And then I'll get to that in a sec, Taj, as well. Yeah, the bench here, Reed Marnie might not play this week. Just keep that in mind. He isn't guaranteed to play. Then the rest of the extended bench, guys like Gray, Fainu, they're pretty respectable options for this week. So I'm not super concerned. You got 3 trades in the bank, $0. Let's have a look at this. So if I'm you, for most people, I'm saying probably don't sell Kolomatangi. I don't think he's necessarily worth selling for most coaches. But for your team in particular, I've got I've got considerations for that. So I'm just getting out the playlist here. Let's see. Who are we looking at? We'd probably be looking at, if we're selling Kolomatangi for you, because he really drops off in that back row role and he has such a high value. Could he get you someone worthwhile? Is the question I'm asking myself here. Now, you could probably get a second rower if you wanted to. You've already got Ola Kawatu there, so you're in a good spot with that. You've got Dry Gray as your backup as well. Okay, you've got pretty good depth across the board, actually. So maybe you don't need to do it. Maybe you hold on to him this week and then you wait for next week. Head-to-head elimination final this week. What are your thoughts on possible trades, or do I hold is the question. Let's see. I mean, what would you guys do for this team, right? Like, if you're in a head-to-head elimination final, where is the weakness here? So the middle forwards are strong. Sean Bloor is more of a loophole option than a starter, I would say. Then, you know what, Reed Marnie is a guy I'd probably looking to sell. The rest of the back line is all very startable. Galvin's doing fine right now, but round 26 is going to be a concern there. So you're probably short a half, I would say. Jai Gray is your backup half, or maybe Max Plath, but that probably leaves you a bit stretched. So I'm kind of looking at this. I'm thinking $0 in the bank is a little tricky to work with, but if you were to sell Reed Marnie and Kolomatangi, who are both downgraded scorers now, you could keep Kolomatangi as well, by the way. But if we were to sell Kolomatangi this week for your team, how much money does that give us? That gives us, so you got 0 in the bank. We're looking at $619K for Reed, and we're looking at $768K for Kolomatangi. So probably around that 1.4 mil kind of number. Looking at 1.4 mil, you're probably looking at, say, like you said, Juicy, Cam Murray is a good one. So if you get Cam Murray, it means you're about $750K remaining after that. So what could you get for 750? You probably want to get a half. That's the big thing here for you. So if you're getting a half, who are we looking at? I mean, DC is carrying a bit of an injury, so I'm not super high on him. Matt Burton is an option you could consider. Jerome Hughes might get a rest, so just keep that in mind. And then who else we got at half who we like? It's pretty dry at the half spot, isn't it? You could take a look at, who do we like? You might have to save some cash and get someone cheaper. It's a real pod move. It's a serious pod move, but I don't mind the idea of going Reed Marnie and Kolomatangi to Cam Murray and Matt Burton for you. Now, that's a big pod. It's up to you if you want to do it. You don't have to do that, but you could take that shot. Reed Marnie, Kolomatangi to Cam Murray and Matt Burton. Or alternatively, you hold Kolomatangi and you just go Reed Marnie, and I think Fletcher Sharp, by the way, is not going to score super well for the remainder. So you could go Reed Marnie and Fletcher Sharp out as well if you wanted to. and get Cam Murray and maybe a cheap player like Maverick Guy and bank some cash. Probably not as attractive. So I'm liking the idea of that first trade, Marnie and Koloamatangi to Murray and Matt Burton. Now, you can get another half. If there's another half you like better, if you like Jerome Hughes, for example, you can go that way instead. But I think Matty Burton has a lot of excitement in him, so that's where I'm going. Glad to see you like it as well. Glad to see you like it too. Look, it's only if you're really bought in on the Dogs, but I think it's a pretty exciting option with their run home. I'll just quickly hit some of these questions here too. So, yeah, Taj, glitch with the overall rankings. Yeah, so mine went up heaps. Mine went up tons, which, hey, I'll take it. And then the biscuits. Yeah, nice one, man. Good dub. Love it. Atira, Hayden Longy, Liam Henry down is ill on the NRL casualty ward. Any idea what's going on? I think that's why he withdrew last week. So I think he's okay for this week. I'll keep you posted closer to the game, but they play first game of the round, so you're going to know. But I think that's why he withdrew last week, because he didn't play last week. He was a late withdrawal last week, whereas he's looking good to play this week. Trading out Madison and Walsh, do you guys prefer Watson and Henry or Murray and Lomax / Ponga? It's hard to go past Murray and Ponga. That's really hard to go past Murray and Ponga. But Watson and Henry does have the biggest upside. So Watson and Henry, highest upside. Murray and Ponga is the safe and smart option. So you sort of make a call between those. If you want to take the risk, I don't mind it. All right, Caden up next. So Caden, always one of the first. Post your teammate. Love it. So let's see this team here. We've got Starling, Fainu, Watson. Yeah, all right, cool. It's a pretty clean side. We don't love Fainu and Nakora as starters, but we can live with it at this stage. And then for the rest of the back line, looks really good. The back line. Let's see the bench here. So Jack Whiten should pop off this week. Brown, Galvin, Coruscant, all reliable options. Then we got Gray. We have Sorensen, who's a major issue. And we have one trade in the bank. Now, if I'm you, I'm looking at this and I'm sort of going, all right, do I really need to trade Sorensen out? I don't think you necessarily do need to do that. Now, I look at this team and I go, all right, the starting team is fine. Fainu, you can cop as a starter right now. The bench is fine as well. You can cop Whiten on your bench. The rest of these guys are all starter quality. So it's really Jai Gray who's sitting there. Maybe Drinkwater, who's a bit sus. Isaac Tungo as well, potentially, but you can move Whiten in. I'm probably thinking that you save the trade this week. And look, if you're in a winner takes all head-to-head final, then maybe you sell. In fact, I'll cover that trade first. If you are in a winner takes all head-to-head final, it's elimination. You've got Sorensen, who's 522K plus 134K in the bank, which means you have 656K. Now, that leaves you just short of Cam Murray, who's 659K, which is absolutely brutal for you. So that would have been the trade I was going to suggest there. If you don't have that trade on the table, then what can we look at? I mean, like Curran's there. Maybe Liam Henry is the option. I don't mind the idea of you going Sorensen to Henry direct. I think that's a pretty good trade for you. But you don't have to do it. So here's what I'd recommend. And it's tough because you have to trade Sorensen before the first game of the round because he will lock out. Now, I'd probably be thinking you don't use the trade this week. So, and what I'm going to recommend here is you do a loophole instead of using that trade. So you move Tungo onto your bench. You take Tungo into the bench, swap Whiten into your starting team. You move Tungo into emergency 5, right? Tungo into emergency 5, put Simpkin in emergency 4, and obviously these guys will just slide up. And you wait and see what Tungo scores on Thursday night. He plays first game of the round. If he scores well, leave it as is. If he scores poorly, you bring Gray into the interchange 4 spot. So that's what I'd do. I would have that lined up in a way where you've got Tungo in emergency 5 and Simpkin or Gray in interchange 4. Now, the one twist I would change that is I would personally start Gray over Drinkwater and use Drinkwater in the loophole instead. That's just the one thing I'd change. I like the matchup for Gray. Gray has a higher variation of scores, but I think he's got more potential for big upside compared to Scotty Drinkwater right now. But you could do it either way, really, there. So that's the one change I'd make. But you use Tungo, and that loophole is the big piece of advice there. Now, let's just see quickly. Any other interesting questions here? So, yeah, Walsh to Henry, good shout. I like that trade. That's exciting. Then, cheers, Longy. Cheers to the tip, starting sharp. Save my bacon. No worries, man. It was a good matchup. It was a good matchup. We got lucky with 4 tries. Like the fantasy scoring isn't great for Sharp. He's not a great fantasy scorer, but he scored 4 tries, and you can cop that, right? Olakwatu, yeah, great option, really good option. That could be an option you look at here as well. So yeah, Sorensen to Olakwatu direct. I like that trade too. Just the key is you do have to make that trade before Thursday because Sorensen will lock out. And the question is then, is Olakwatu worth a lot more than Coruscant or Galvin, right? And I don't think he's worth that much more. So if your team can cop waiting a week on a trade and the player's not going to completely blow up your score and, really help, then I just reckon you hold on to these trades personally. All right, we'll keep rolling through. So we got Sheep up next. Have included a trade, Strange or Gray to KP. So definitely Strange out of those two, by the way. Leaning towards Strange. I think Gray could score big this round. Completely agree. Seeing Strange at center and Rabbits at Tigers, exactly my thinking, mate. Absolutely agree. Makes me think Strange to Ponga. Struggling on who to put the C on. Cleary versus Storm. I can't imagine a big store. Initially leaned towards Gray, however. Yeah, so I think you got to leave Cleary as your captain. Cleary is the guy you probably want to captain here. If you're going to go a different captain this week, you could maybe look at Fafita with a good matchup, but Fafita hasn't been inspiring. You could look at Yo in a tougher matchup, but he's pretty safe. He's all right. You could bet on like Watson against the Eagles, scoring a few points, but that's very risky. Or I don't know, who else have you got? You got maybe, Campbell. I think Campbell is going to pop off this week, but I wouldn't captain him. And then, the bench is not anyone really super noteworthy. So I think Cleary is your best captain this week. If you want to go a different way, it's like a 20% chance of working, but you can get some upside out of it. So I would stick with Cleary is my advice. But if you do want to go a different way, you want to go crazy, someone like Campbell, Fafita, Watson, they can score well, but they can also score 30 for you. That's the issue. Well, not Fafita, but the other two. So in terms of this team, the Strange to Kalen Ponga trade is sounding good to me, to be honest. Like, this is a really good starting side. You're looking at a very strong bench as well. Tungo in the loophole needs to happen. That's a big thing. Strange to Kalen Ponga is a great move as well. So if he comes in, that's the thing. Your team doesn't really need the wing fullback is the one issue. Because I think Gray is a guy that you could probably start. So here's what I'd do if I was you. I would move Isaac Tungo into emergency 5 and put Paddy Carrigan in interchange 4 and then slide everyone else up. And I think you just wait and see what Tungo scores this week. And then you've got the loophole already set up with Carrigan, right? So you're all good there. If Tungo goes massive against the Storm, then maybe you don't trade. But if Tungo scores poorly, then you do Strange to Ponga and you move Ponga into your bench, right? But I think just wait for that Thursday. And if you can get away with not making the trade, that's ideal. But Strange to Ponga is 100% an upgrade. It's just, I don't know how many trades you have left. That's the big thing. And if you're using your last trade on this, then my first question is, right, do we have depth at every position? So hooker, you have depth with Watson. Middle forward, you have depth with Carrigan. So just one player of depth. Edge back row, you got depth with Nakora. Then half, you have depth with Dylan Brown and technically Jai Gray. Center, you will have depth with Karaz and Garrick, who can slide up into that spot. And wing fullback, you'll have Gray and Kalen Ponga. So it leaves you in a good spot. I'm pretty happy with that trade. Just make sure you use Tungo in your loophole is my big thing. And then Ethan Strange is the one to sell. Keep Jai Gray. I trust Jai Gray this week. I think he's going to pop off. Here we go. 3 trades. Yeah, definitely do that trade then. Yeah, if you're at 3 trades, man, you're sweet. You're absolutely sweet. Definitely make that trade. Just make sure Tungo is in that emergency 5 spot and Carrigan is in interchange 4. And you're doing that loophole with the Thursday night games. That just plays into your strategy a little bit. You could also do a double loophole if you wanted to as well. That's an option. Parramatta do play pretty early in the round though. So you're looking at, let me just get those matchups. Because Parramatta play the late game on Friday. So you got Panthers and Storm you can use in that loophole. Or, oh my God, it's running so slow. Who's the other Friday game? I should know this. Or another game to loophole as well. But the big one is Tungo in the loophole and do Ethan Strange to Kalen Ponga. I do like those trades. I'll just quickly, Caden, for your team, I'll just jump back up to it, man, because that's all good. So your team I really liked. The big thing I was suggesting here was to because you have one trade left. I'm thinking you probably don't trade. But if you do want to trade, Sorensen to either Liam Henry or Olakawatu are really good options that I like. Also, I'm recommending that you start Jack Whiten and you bring Isaac Tungo onto your bench. And Tungo is your emergency 5 for the loophole. And you use Simpkin for that loophole. So you put Simpkin in interchange 4. That's the big thing there for you. But I like the idea of Sorensen to Olakawatu or Liam Henry or one of the players in that sort of price range that you like. So have a look through, make a pick in that area. They're all good options. Then let's just keep rolling through some here. So head-to-head elimination, 3 trades. Do all 3 or keep one and hope for a win this weekend. Howarth, Hands, or McLean for bench. Have all 21. I think probably try to use only 2 trades this week. Try to keep one, Amanda. But Howarth, Hands, and McLean, you're probably not wanting to start many of those guys. So use trades to try and upgrade them. Try and get some better starters this week is the big piece of advice there. And did your team just stand? Never bet against the chin. Yeah, Rob, that's the safe advice. That is the smart advice. Listening from Japan. Oh, mate, love it. Love it. I actually just booked a trip to Japan end of October, start of November. So I'll be over there soon too. So hit me up with some recommendations for Japan travel, man. I need the advice. How good was Sharp? No worries, man. No worries. I actually versed Bergs in our Super Coach draft league finals and had Sharp, and Sharp nearly won me that game, which was absolutely crazy. I had Sharp and Plath that afternoon, who absolutely killed it. Drinkwater to Ponga. Yeah, this is a good trade. It's an upgrade. And then let's keep rolling through. Who's the best middle and edge under 747K? You're probably looking at Cam Murray is the best option there. You've got other guys like Olakawatu. Gus Crichton is a really good option. Connor Watson's a great option. There's a lot of guys in that area, but Cam Murray is probably the safe one. Was Manly. We got recap that loop. Yeah. So for you, man, we just want a loophole, and we can chat about this later on Discord as well. Just shoot a message into the level 1 chat if you're not sure, and I'll draw it up for you. But Tungo is in emergency 5 for you, and then Carrigan is in interchange 4, and then it goes like Nakora, Brown, Sharp. Just leave them in those spots. Tungo plays first game of the round, so you can see his score, and if he scores well, you can leave that loophole. If he scores poorly, you bring someone else into the team. Now, you can have Ponga as well for Strange, so I'd say the other player to use in the loophole, maybe like a Nakora, for example, or a Sean Bloor, or one of these types of players. Just keep in mind Sean Bloor does play that first game of the round. And then Sam here, Captain DCE, certainly outscored Cleary. I reckon DCE is a bit sus right now. I'm a little bit worried about him. He didn't kick the ball a lot last week. So he was outkicked by Luke Brooks, which makes me think he might have some sort of groin issue or something like that. So I'm not trusting DCE. I definitely wouldn't captain him, but he does have that big upside potential. So if you want to do it, take the shot. Marty to Murray or hold last trade. That is a good trade. That's a very good trade. I reckon that's a good one to do. Have to play either Tungo or Howarth. Can't loop. Ooh, I mean, do the loophole. Oh, you can't do the loophole. Sorry, you got 21. Probably Tungo out of that too, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Probably Tungo is where I'm leaning there. And then we'll chat on Discord. Easy as, man. That's super easy. Feel free to message as well. So once we set it up, once Tungo scores, we can talk about whether we take his score or not and that sort of thing. So I'm happy to, I can just record short little videos and show you how to do that stuff. Then thoughts on bringing in Chris Randall for Ryan Madison. I'm not a big Randall fan, but he is very solid and he's scoring quite well. So just keep an eye on AJ Brimson, who is on that bench. He could potentially steal some minutes at lock as well, is what I'm hearing, which is pretty crazy to me, but talk that might happen. I'll quickly drop it in too, guys. This is the Discord link. So if you do want to be part of this, Discord's free. You can just jump in. The link's there in the chat. But if you do want to be part of Pimp My Team, that's just a small upgrade as well. So it's like you can do a free trial for today, for example, but it's like $3 a week. So it's super chill. It's just to prioritize basically because I have 1,000 of these in Instagram DMs. So I've got to give people a way to get to the top of the list. Now, Katsuki, let's have a look at your team, bro. So we got great roster. Really good. Yep. Fogarty is a bit of a concern right now with Cook next to him, but he's still 50 average, so I'm not super, super worried. The back line looks awesome. Keeney and Campbell, surely they bounce back this week. Then you've got, Tungo in the loophole already, so you're in a good spot there. It's all green dots, though, which is normally good news, but just means you can't do any loopholing. That's the problem. Wade Egan's carrying a bit of an injury. Otherwise, I might suggest starting him. But otherwise, I don't. It's good without being great. If you have 3 trades in the bank, I'm going to recommend trades. Two. I knew you would do this. 2 trades. Okay. 2 trades makes it hard. The issue with your team here is that I'd need to make 2 trades to do something meaningful. As in, I'd need to sell 2 players who are priced decently to convert to a high-quality scorer. If you're in head-to-head finals and you're in an elimination game, then we trade. If you're an overall player, which I believe you are, then we don't trade. So overall, coach, don't trade. I can keep riding with this team and see how you go. Head-to-head coach, we're going to use those 2 trades if you're in an elimination game, because I think your team is it's good, but it's not good enough to win a clutch head-to-head matchup against someone else who's trying really hard. So if you're a head-to-head coach, I'm thinking we just use 2 trades on guys who aren't in your 17. So Egan is priced at, let's have a look at this. Egan's priced at 546K. Carrying a bit of an injury, I think he's an easy one to sell. Atoa Kamanu is just losing cash, and he's at 512K. So Turkamani 512, Egan 546. So we're looking at about 1.06 mil. And then we've got that as well. So probably about 1.15 mil kind of thing. So if you got 1.15 mil, then we need to buy 2 players with that. And I'm just thinking, all right, cool. What beefs up our bench? So you have Yo already. You have Fafita already. Okay. My thought process here is that you want to go all out on a big starter for you. The starter could be anyone, really. I mean, because we're using the last trades, we need to think about depth as well. So your half depth is basically KO Weeks and Jai Gray, or Max Plath, but we don't have a backup middle forward without Atoa Manu, so we might want to target a middle forward. Your hooker depth is kind of Connor Watson there, and we're getting rid of Egan. Your center and back depth is really good, so you're all good there. And halves depth is basically Max Plath and kind of Jai Gray as well. So with 1.15 mil, I'm probably looking at spending about 700K on the first player. The first player could be, and it's your call here, but Gus Crichton is a really good option at that price bracket. I think he helps your team quite a bit. He's an edge back rower though, so it's less ideal. Cam Murray is an awesome option for the run home. Covers that middle spot for you in particular, which frees up Max Plath to be more half cover. Cam Murray is probably the better option there. So if we say Cam Murray is the first option that you buy, so we're selling, just recapping, we're selling Egan and Atoa Manu. We're buying Cam Murray, and that's about 650K. So that leaves you about 500K in the bank. Now, who's under 500K? I went through this last night, but I'll just have a quick recap. So if you've got 500K to use on the second guy, we're going Cam Murray and we're looking at, who have I got here? Like Panassi, Hazleton. Tallis Duncan isn't the worst at 499K. I don't trust him completely, but he could be a solid scorer for the run home. Who else have we got? Jack Williams, probably only this week, not really a long-term option. Sarko is a real pod. Not trustworthy, but he is a pod. And then rolling down the list here, it's not super, super convincing, is it? Maybe Atkinson, but Trindle's already coming back soon, so probably not him. Clifford's at a good price, but no job security there. I kind of like the idea of going double souths here. So going Egan and Atoa Manu to Cam Murray and Tallis Duncan. I'm actually really into that idea. I think that's pretty clean. That's the big risky play, basically, to get yourself into that head-to-head finals sort of situation and maximize your score for this week. I think Tallis Duncan pops off against the Tigers. I think he absolutely kills it this week, and Cam Murray should as well. So if you are head-to-head, Egan and Atoa Manu for Murray and Tallis Duncan. If you're overall, don't do any trades. You can't loophole right now, but I think the way you have your bench set up is pretty much accurate in how I would do it as well. Quick one here, 4K Harls. Yeah, so it's you can do a free trial right now. So just jump into the Discord. The link is in the chat there. And you just go to Welcome Newbies, and that has how to get into this. You then get into the Pimp My Team section where you just post your team, basically. So that's the play there. You can do it for a free trial, but it's normally about $3 a week to be part of that community as well. There's a chat where we're all talking all the time as well. So level 1, level 2, level 3, depending on whether you go cheapie, mid-ranger, or top gun. All right, Vincenz, let's have a look. So in finals for head-to-head this week, so thinking of using the last trade to bring in a gun, open to trading out Sharp or Hands, thinking DCE or Murray. Also open to selling McLean or Howarth if you reckon Sharp Hands is better than either of them. Let's have a look at this. So it's a good roster. Eli Katoa comes back. That's nice. Cam Munster, you got that Melbourne connection going on. Then Isaac Tungo, I don't fully trust versus Storm this week, so just keep an eye on that. Joey Manu, love the pod. And then, yeah, rest of the team's looking good too. So do you have anyone? You don't have any loophole options, so no red dots. Okay, one trade left. Finals this week for head-to-head. I think it's worth trading, right? I think it's absolutely worth trading. So, oh, here we go. Sorry, is this you, Matt? So here we go. FYI, I'm playing Manu over Tungo and then Finu into the starting side over Tungo. Yeah, so I reckon it's worth doing the trade regardless. Like, I think Tungo isn't super trustworthy. I like him as a loophole this week, but I wouldn't use him. I'll explain the loopholes in a sec as well, but I wouldn't use him as a starter. So yeah, Joey Manu into the starting side like you talked about. Move Tungo out of the starting side. So then I would slide Tungo out of the team, and that basically means you go in Fletcher Sharp or Brandon Hands out, and you can buy basically whoever you want. I'm probably thinking that you sell. Do you have the cover at half, or is Hands your only halves cover? It looks like Hands is your only halves cover. So you probably have to keep Hands. That's the issue there. You have to keep Hands. Wing fullback, you have cover, right? So keep Hands just because of that. Sell Sharp, that's fine. If you're selling Sharp, who are we getting at that price point? So 719K. By the way, I would put this person into your team and move Tungo out of your team. So whoever we get, we're going to move them into the starting side. So at 719K, my first thought is Gus Crichton's around that price. So I like Gus Crichton. I like Jacob Preston right up that price as well. I don't mind Brian To'o, but I think you've got enough wing fullbacks already. So Crichton, Preston are the two I really like here. You could take a shot at Tommy Turbo. He's got some big upside. Or you could have a look at Cam Murray as well. I think you already got Connor Watson. Yes, you got Connor Watson. So Cam Murray's the other option there. So your call here between Gus Crichton, Jacob Preston, and Cam Murray. If I was running this team, I would say that Preston is a very safe option. Cam Murray is the strongest scorer of the group, and Gus Crichton has the most upside explosive scores in him. So if you want to swing for the fences like you have with Cam Munster, so I have a suspicion I know where you're going to go with this, then Gus Crichton is the upside play here. If you want the safer option, it's Murray, and if you want the really stable option, it's Preston. But I'm leaning towards Murray or Gussie Crichton. Crichton for the upside, Murray for the safety. Your call between those two. And yeah, you can't loophole here. Just quickly too, I'll answer some of these as well. So what teams have a bye till finals? Cowboys are next week. Broncos are this week. So Broncos this week, Cowboys next week, and then the Tigers the week after. Is the Tigers the week after? Yeah, it is. So Broncos, Cowboys, Tigers, and then Warriors the last round. How do loopholes work? So if you were loopholing here, I've got a video on it, by the way. So if you go to my channel and search loopholes explained or how to loophole, there's actually a really deep video I did on it that goes through it. But let's just say for this team, Josh Curran wasn't playing this week, right? So let's say he's a red dot. Now, red dots are our best friend when it comes to loopholing. All that means is that when Brandon Hands plays, if he scores 30 points, right, and we leave it as is, his 30 points will slide onto the interchange bench and replace Josh Curran in a loophole. Now, if he scores 30 and we think Sharp is going to score more than that, we can then move Sharp into this spot and score Sharp instead. So loopholes just mean we get a second chance at a guy. So if there's someone who has high upside like Isaac Tungo, but they also have low downside, then we can put them in the loophole spot because we don't trust them, and we can see how they score. And if they pop off, we take their score. And if they score poorly, we leave them out, basically. So red dots is the key with those loopholes. But yeah, check it out on my channel. It's How to Loophole, I think is what the video is called. I made it last year, but it's still all super relevant. And then, is it possible to loop Sorensen? It is not really possible. No, not by himself. So he plays the first game of the round. So there's not much he can do with Sorensen this week. He's pretty useless for you. But he will be a loopholer for future weeks. So just keep that in mind. That could be useful for you going forward. All right, I'll think on it. Appreciate long. No worries, Matt. No worries, Matt. Good to see you, man. All right, we'll keep rolling through with Ephraim's team next. So again, this is always a really good roster as well. Yeah, so clean side, really strong roster. Madison we have to deal with. Madison's not going to play this week. It's not confirmed anywhere, but I'm just certain he's not going to play. So I would plan for Madison not to play, which means we have to fill an edge back row spot. You don't have any edge back rows on the starting side, so do we have it on the bench? Finu is probably the option that we have there. Okay. And then, do you have any trades left? 2 trades left, 123K. All right, we're in a good spot. Easy option here is you can just go Madison out straight away. And you can buy. So Murray's only a mid. Just keep that in mind. That's not useful for you. You could probably get away with starting Finu, but you probably don't want to. Madison, 594K. You've got 123K. Okay, you can basically get whoever you want, really. I like the idea of your team just going Madison to Gus Crichton direct, bang. Maddo to Gus Crichton, easy option. These are good as well. So you've mentioned Homole Olakawatu and Liam Henry too. Madison to Henry, there's a bit of risk in that with the job security and all that sort of thing. I'm not fully convinced on that one. I'm doing Madison to Henry, by the way, but I don't have the cash that you have. If I had the cash you have, I would go Madison to Crichton and just go bang. Do that. Bank on him scoring well against Parramatta this week. So Maddo to Crichton is what I'd do if I was you. But Olakawatu could just as easily go on a big tear. Henry could just as easily go on a big tear. Really, the question becomes, I'm going to ask you for each player, right, by the way. For Liam Henry, do you think that he holds down that spot, plays consistently, and locks it in even when Liam Martin comes back? I think he probably does. For Olakawatu, do you think Manly go on a tear for the run home? They have some very good matchups. But he needs to score 2 tries in the last 4 games to be worthwhile for you. Or for Gus Crichton, do you think the Roosters go hot and do you think he sort of warms up again, especially after the rest of a bye game? Now, I'm backing Gussie Crichton as that big scorer. We've seen it already this year, but you could say Olakawatu or Henry as well, and they're both viable options too. So pick based on your gut. I'm going Gus for you, but I'm okay with any of those 3, really. Then, quick question here too. You'll have no money in the bank for your final trade. Is that all good? I think that's fine. I don't think you need money for your final trade because your final trade is probably going to be someone who is very expensive, getting hurt or whatever it is, and you trading them out. So it's going to be someone in that 700K sort of range, and you're going to make a trade, and you're not going to need a bunch of extra cash to use there. So I'd rather not have cash in the bank, basically. You don't have to spend it for no reason, but yeah, I wouldn't save any cash. So that's the play I'd make. Who do I put in my 17 out of Tungo, Gaia, Foran, Haywood, and Hands? Probably Gaia, starting back row. I think he'll go well. Sorensen to Dylan Walker. I'm not super hyped on it, but you could do it. Okay, sounds good. All in on Gus, the New South Wales Messiah. Look, just keep thinking about it too. If you hear a voice from God or whatever it is, and you hear Homole Olakawatu's name, while you're dreaming or whatever it is, then go that way instead. I'm leaning towards Gus Crichton. That's all. But I'm buying Henry, by the way, so don't get mad when you see Henry in my team. All right, user. Let's see this. So mainly overall focused, and I don't see my team making the top 1 to 2K. Probably using my last trade for the head-to-head qualifiers. All right, looking at Murray, but anyone under 688K works. So for your team, it's a really strong starting side. We got Tungo in the starting team with then Madison we got to deal with. We got loopholers. Okay, with Blaze, Gray, Fino, Sharp. All right, you've got a nice loophole setup going on here. 1 trade left. Madden and Murray is a good option. If you wanted to go different ways, I guess my question is, do you have the edge back row cover? So if you go Madden and Murray, your backup edge back rower is Fino. And then you got Piakura as well. That's okay. That's not too bad. You could, I guess, at the middle spot, you've got Carrigan as your backup in Fino too. So you got a stronger middle forward rotation than you do an edge back row rotation. So you could go a different way. You could go like Ola Kawatu instead, but I think Murray's the better scorer. So I think you've got it right, Madison to Murray, and then just keep an eye on these players in terms of their order of play. With Blaze Talangi, Jai Gray, and Fino, for example, Gray and Fino play in the same game. So it's going to be a bit hard to loophole. I would probably rather, if I was you, start Gray. So move Gray into your starting team, move Garrick into the center spot, and bring Tungo back to your bench. I don't trust him this week. And then use Tungo as your first, like your loop there with Blaze Talangi as well. So Tungo and Blaze in 5 and 6. And Finu is the guy that you take the score if they score poorly, basically. That's what I'd do there if I was you. I think that's a really easy play. Yeah. Because then you can start Gray, you can move Garrick into center, and you can use Tungo and Blaze as your loophole options. And you've got 2 Broncos, so you're in a good spot here. That's what I'd be doing there. But yeah, great trade. You're in a good spot, man. I'll add some questions here. Who we got? We got. What do you think of Drinky to Cam Murray? As I already have Teddy, Pong, and Garrick. If you have another wing fullback as cover, then that's good. But only if you have another wing fullback as cover. That's the key. Okay, you think that it's worth trading Gus if he already has 3 Roosters? Afraid that Teddy, Watson, Gus all cop a rest at some point. Chooks aren't going that well. I don't think they get a rest. They just had a bye week off, so they could get a rest, but I doubt all 3 get a rest, right? Like, I don't think you can worry about that too much. I think it's okay. And then Sup Aussie Frost King. What do you think of Koloamatangi to Murray this week? I think it's an upgrade. So I view Koloamatangi as like a 45 to 50 average for the run home. I view Murray as like a 60. So you're looking at a 10 to 15 point upgrade based on my projections. But this week against the Tigers, there are attacking stats on offer for Koloamatangi. So I still think it's worthwhile doing, but there is that chance that Koloamatangi pops up for a massive score. So just keep that in mind. If I was being conservative, I would wait 1 week and then trade him next week. If you're being balls to the wall, then do it this week. I think it is an upgrade, so I do like it. Then 5 trades and 280 in the bank. Best center to upgrade Howard to. I have Lomax and Iro. I want to use Lomax at wing fullback this week. What if you got a wing fullback instead? I think there's better wing fullbacks than centers right now. So I'd be targeting guys like Keeney, Ponga, Tommy Turbo, these types of players. And yes, that loophole, perfect, man. Yeah, we're on the same page. So that's good. Awesome. Yeah, we'll line that up perfectly. Koloamatangi Murray seems like a nice trade. Yep. Agree. 2 straight shooting. Easy play. It's 4 weeks left, right? So this is the time to be making moves. All right, ABM. Let's see your team. So team for this week, Maddo is going to be ruled out and going to Henry or Eisenhuth. Do you think that Henry keeps the spot even when Sorensen or Martin return? Not sure about this yet. I might go from Mad Dog Captain and Captain Henry. Crazy tackle numbers. What should be a tight game against Melbourne. Also, there are 0 edges on the bench, 2 halves, 1 prop/lock, and 1 prop, which means Henry should get 80 or close to 80 minutes. They did play Salmon in the edge back row spot last year, so just keep that in mind. They don't mind playing a different player there, but let's see the team. I mean, I think you have to captain Cleary. I think Cleary is the captain option, but if you want to go Henry and you're feeling bold, you can do this. But I would probably recommend captain Cleary. In terms of your trade here, let's have a look at it. So Maddo to Henry, not a lot more cash to use. I think it's a great trade. It's actually the trade that I'm probably going to be doing this week as well. And I'm in a similar cash situation to you too. So this is exactly the trade I'm going for. The thing to keep in mind here is actually we don't have confirmation on Scott Sorensen yet, but we need to keep an eye out for Sorensen's official diagnosis. I'm thinking it's going to be 4 weeks, so I think he's out for the year. But if it's only a 1 to 2 week thing like Trindle's, for example, then we might have to keep an eye on that and change our plans. As long as Sorensen isn't shortened in terms of his diagnosis, then Henry's a great option. I love it. I think there's massive scoring upside here, but I would probably captain Cleary. Loophole, you got Jed Cartwright. That's super easy. I'm not worried about Carraz. I wouldn't necessarily loophole Carraz myself. So who would I loophole instead? who plays before the night? It's pretty much everyone, right? I'd probably be loopholing Nakora instead of Karaz. I trust Karaz more than I trust Nakora. So I'd swap those two around as long as that works in terms of the fixtures. If that doesn't work, then maybe Jai Gray. You could try and loophole him instead. I think you could loophole Scotty Drinkwater, one of those guys. You've also got Carrigan to loophole too. So let's talk later. We'll talk on in the chat about it, but there's a double loophole you can do here as well with Carrigan too. So let's talk about that because I think you've got a lot of good players that you could use in a double loophole, and that would be my recommendation here. All right, let's keep rolling through. So Baden, head-to-head focus, 3 trades left, pre-trades. You won last week, prime time, you got the buy. First instinct is to save the trades for next week, but was wondering what you thought on these trades for next week. Can sub Murray out for Gus in the second trade. Can also loop Gus. Can also do Gus instead of Watson. But Starling would be my only hooker. Getting Cartwright gives me a looper. All right, let's see this. So if you're not worried about this week, then yeah, definitely don't trade this week. You're really just optimizing, and you're in a great spot with your head-to-head finals as well. So Robson and Nakora are both not trustworthy keepers, and they're at a good price. I'm a fan of selling both of them. Watson and Murray makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense for you. There's a bit of spare cash here to work with as well. So if people lose or gain a bit of cash, it should be okay this week, especially with Watson having pretty high break even. So yeah, I'm into those trades. I think they're great. I think you need the spare hooker. Yeah, I think you probably need the spare hooker. Do it next week is the big thing, but yeah, I think you're okay. Yeah, I think this is the play. This is the play. Connor Watson, he's not fully trustworthy, but you need the spare hooker. That's the big thing, right? Because we're selling Robson. I think it's a good move. What are you thinking, by the way? Also, yeah, here we go. Limp Brisket's team. So yeah, awesome, man. Good job on getting the buy, though. That's the big thing, right? So you got 2 games you need to win, basically, and you've got 3 trades in the bank. Those 2 next week with 1 trade for the grand final. I think you're cool. I think you're really cool. In a good spot. Here we go. So I'm worried about moving prices. If you want to make a move now, then you could just buy Murray this week. Let's have a look. All right, let's have a look at this. Yeah. What have you got? Ooh. So using all 3 trades here. Piekura, Robson, and Blore to Watson, Murray, and Curry. I think saving the trade is worth more than having a loophole. In terms of next week's games, the Tigers have the bye. Oh, you don't have any Tigers players. That's kind of crazy. I don't think you need to use that last trade to get. You can do a loophole next week. Like you can get a loophole next week instead, but I think this is the right set of trades. If you're worried about money, have a look at the numbers closely. But if you're worried about the money, then just do 1 trade where you're going maybe Robson to Murray or Nakora to Murray or something like that. Don't get Watson this week. Get Watson next week. Get Murray this week is the play. So Blore over Nakora rest of the season. That's a hard one. Nakora is more expensive, so he lets you do more with the money. That's the big thing, right? So I think Nakora is slightly better than Blore, but I would rather have Blore and 1 trade than Nakora and no trades. That's the big thing. Yeah, next week Cowboys bye. So I guess that's where Robson could have been. Robson could be that loophole option for you. That's the other thing to think about here. Other than that, yeah, no Cowboys players. So yeah, nothing to do there. But yeah, I think you're in a good spot, man. Just save that trade. Also, there's probably going to be injuries this week anyway, so you might be forced to go in a different direction. But I would only use 2 trades next week. And then we save 1 for the grand final, and we win that grand final, man. That's the key. All right, Hodjo Bro. Let's see. Thanks for my team, even though it's not fantasy. So this one's a bit different, guys, by the way. This is a Dream Team side, which is an old classic game. It used to be the NRL official game back in the day. But Dream Team's a comp with like 4,000 people in it. We'll do some content for it next year, actually. So I'm coming about 7th in Dream Team, which is exciting. But my team has like no trades left, and it's got Latrell in it, and it's got a few problems to deal with. So we'll see how it goes. But Hodjo's team here, we've got head-to-head, 3 trades left before trading, no boosts left. So for boost, you can actually use extra trades that week. You lost last week and you're playing knockout this week, so you have to win. Thinking about Burton and Farmworth for Walsh and Foggs. They're big pods. Just to cancel out some players my opponent has, leaves you with 130k to play with next week if I survive. Just watch your buy, hold, sell. You said you don't buy DCE. Yeah, I think the injury, there's something there. Like, why was Brooks taking all the kicks? That it just worries me a little bit. And then should I target Watson or Cam Murray? Open to suggestions. Honestly, they're both good options, to be honest. Thanks, mate. Appreciate all your vids. No worries. I love making them. Play Edwards this week past fitness, or do I play Robson this week to cancel him out? Might have to open browser to see image in full. Let's have a look at this. So if I just take off, let's see the matchup here. All right. I'll grab the team as well. So let's have a look at this roster first. I'm not a big fan of playing to your head-to-head opponent, right? I think you got to play your own game is the big thing. So if your head-to-head opponent's doing whatever, I'm not super worried about what they're doing. I'd rather just focus on our team here. So what do we got here? We got a very strong starting side. And what I'm looking for is weaknesses that trades will address. Now, starting side looks good. The halves are good. The back line looks strong as well. Do we trust the matchups this week? Yeah, they're all pretty good matchups too. Dylan Edwards is a guy you could look at starting. Fogarty is a guy who, yeah, I don't mind you trading him actually. Olaquatu, Barnett are really solid as well. Got Curran here too. You actually got a really clean roster, man. This is really good. So for your matchup, sorry, let's just see. For your matchup this week, he's going to make some moves, right? So he's got these guys like Walsh, Carrigan to deal with. Royce Hunt, Sharp. Oh, his team's pretty garb, man. I think you're going to beat him. Tedesco and Crichton, he's got coming in, but what's he going to do about Sharp, Hunt, these sorts of players, Blaze? Okay, I can see why you're trying to play to him now. The big thing is, though, you have a grand final next week, right? And you're the 4th place team. You're going to be an underdog next week. I think you have to play your own game. I think your team is way better than his. I think you're going to win by a bunch this week. So I'm thinking about next week. How do we optimize for next week? You suggested a few trades, Burton and Farmworth for Walsh and Foggs. That's okay. Target Watson or Cam Murray. I like those a bit more. So if I'm you, I'm probably looking at going. I think Robson to Watson is an exciting trade for you. And then Murray is a good shout too. So you could maybe, it's up to you if you want to do this, but you could maybe look at trading. Who would you trade to Murray is the question, right? Maybe Cotter to Murray and start planning for that grand final next week. Or you could potentially save that trade as well. I don't think you necessarily need to trade hard this week. If you go Fogarty out, have you got any flexibility in terms of player movements? You're really only trading Fogarty for a half. So you could do you could do Fogarty to Burton if you want to as well. I think for your team, you're just so much more stacked than he is. So I'm just thinking a simple one trade. I think Robson to Watson is an upgrade. Watson has big explosive potential against Para this week. So that's probably what I'm thinking. Okay, here we go. Grand finals in 2 weeks' time, not next week for our league. In that case, don't sell Cotter. So you're looking at Tigers who have a bye, which you're not really super worried about that. Okay, if the grand final's in 2 weeks, then there's actually a lot of problems that can arise. So my advice here is just use one trade. Use one trade, and it's hard because your team is so good. Your one trade could be Fogarty to Burton, potentially, if you want to do that. If you really like Burton, but you have to really believe in Burton to do that. I'm not super sold on it for you. Or Robson to Watson. I think that's actually the better trade. So I'm thinking Robbo to Watson. That's the key. All right, let's keep rolling through here. So what do we got? And we can chat more in the chat, by the way, man. And ranks are a bit glitched right now, by the way, guys. So they're glitched up. Don't worry about the ranks. They'll bounce it back. They'll fix them up. All good. But whatever your original was at the end of the lockout, I think that's what your actual ranking is. because mine like halved. Mine went so much better, which I hope it's not a glitch. All right, going through this team here. So again, clean starting side. You've got Eisenhuth in there, Starling. Yeah, okay. And good wing fullback set here. The bench, Marnie is a problem. We've got Finu and Gray with Geimer in the loophole as well. We could talk about that. So for your back line, do you have anyone else that can play center? Yeah, Garrick. Okay, cool. So I'm going to change your loopholes. One trade left. Do you need to trade? I don't think you need to trade. So what would I be doing here? If I was you, I would be going Garrick into the starting side over Tungo. So starting Garrick over Tungo. Move Tungo back to your bench. And then play Tungo in the loophole here. I wouldn't start Reed Marnie. I trust Finu and Gray both more than Reed Marnie actually this week. So I'd probably be sliding Keeney up and Finu and Gray here in 3 and 4, Tungo in 5, and then you can use Jezewski or Geimer as your loophole options there. So that's the key there. Tungo is your first game player. He is that loophole option. You start Garrick over him, basically. I think Garrick's a trustworthy option this week. And then I'll just quickly see here too. Robson to Watson. No worries, man. No worries. Let's we'll chat more on Discord as well, man. Because yeah, you gotta get that dub, but the 2-week gap is making me a bit nervous. So definitely save trades. Luke Stamo. Ideally, how long should I hold my last trade? Because if I don't get any more injuries, maybe use it the last round. I wouldn't even hold it for the last round. I prefer to use it a bit earlier, but if you want to save it for that long, you can. Really just keep looking at it each week and think, does this trade make a big difference to me this week? If it doesn't make a big difference, then don't make a trade. All right, let's go through to Peter Volandi. So head-to-head semi-final. And we talked about your team already, so you're in a good spot, man. All right, Thornsy, new to this. Love to see it, mate. Welcome to the show. All right, so for you, head-to-head prelims. All right, you're in a good spot here. This is exciting. Let's see this. So, good to see you, Gun 40. Hope you're doing well, man, with no trades. Post your team anyway. We'll do roast my team for yours. But yeah, let's look at this, Thornsy. So for your team, yeah, looking strong. Great forward pack, solid halves. Backline's good. You got Herbie Farnworth and Max Plath, so you definitely won last week. Then Drinkwater, Ponga, Gray is good for this week. Crichton on the bench. I love that. Galvin White and both good scorers this week. Yeah, mate, you are stacked. I don't think you need to do too much in terms of trades. So 2 trades. If you want to make a trade, you can. Are you lacking anything in particular is what I'm thinking about here. I don't think you necessarily are. There's no one who I'm looking at thinking, oh, well, if he doesn't have that guy, he's stuffed. You could, if you want to. There's 2 plays you can make here. So with 356k in the bank, you can basically do whatever you want. I am inclined with that amount of money to use one trade. And the one trade I'm thinking about here. So Drinkwater's on a bye next week, and he hasn't been that convincing recently. Scores haven't been great. Cowboys are looking a bit dodgy. They've just changed their halves pairing. I'm probably thinking for you that you could sell Drinkwater, and you can buy whoever you want, right? So Drinkwater out, 356k in the bank. What are we going to do? Let's see. Winger fullback. We've got James Tedesco, Brian Toe. So let's get this back. Tom Trebojevic. I forgot about Madison there as well, actually. Yeah, and you don't have the middle cover. All right, so you actually have to sell Maddo. All right, let's just go to that. So you've got a trade here, Madison to Murray. Look, that's a good trade. That's a good trade. I would still think about this if you wanted to. So Madison to Murray, that's one trade left. If you want to take a big gamble as well, you can do a second trade. It's up to you. But I still don't mind the idea of going, then maybe you sell Drinkwater and you get like Tommy Turbo or James Tedesco this week versus Parramatta. I think Teddy might be the shout. It's up to you if you want to use that last trade. It's very risky, but Drinkwater's not going to play next week anyway. You're in must-win scenario right now. You could add that trade on. It's risky, but it has high upside. It really depends if you think you're the favorite this week. So yeah, Thornsy, let me know. I see you're in the chat there. Let me know if you think you're the favorite this week. Because if you think you're the favorite, maybe you don't need to do it. But if you really want to maximize points this week, I like the idea of going Drinkwater to Teddy for you. Yeah, Tungo is in a nice spot there with the loophole, by the way. You've set that up perfectly. I'd probably trust Starling as a starter, but the issue is you don't have anyone who I want to drop. It's a good roster, man. You're in a really good spot. Yep, good to see you going 40. Mate, working late. Working hard, my friend. And should I do Kaloa to Murray this week? Because Murray's, yeah, I think it's a good shout. It's a good upgrade. Should work. Masson and Murray is good to go. I was on the ropes bad once Katoa was out. Yeah, mate, Sharp absolutely killed it. So happy you killed it for you, man. And then, yeah, I think I'm favorite to win. Well, maybe you can hold that trade and save that trade. But Drinkwater's not playing next week anyway. I think Teddy is a higher scorer this week. I like the idea of going Drinky to Teddy. It's up to you, though, because it would leave you a bit light. It means you're relying on a Tokamanu as backup in the middle forward spot. He does miss round 26. So it leaves you a little bit light. Probably not worth doing, but it could be a risk you take. It's totally up to you. And then, yeah, might save Drinkwater for the loophole next week. That's also a good shout. You do have a lot of wing fullbacks to choose from, too. I'm keeping up the streak of legendary series. Start bench cut. Let's see. And Mary, Sexton, Maloney, Carney, and Mitch Pearce. Okay. I'm probably going to start. We'll marry Maloney. Maloney looks like a fun guy. He seems chill. So we'll marry Maloney. We'll start. I'm going to start Carney. I'm going to bench Mitch Pearce. And I'm going to cut Toby Sexton. So I think that's the play there. And then might save Drinkwater for loophole next week. Yeah, exactly. Stormzy. Let's keep rolling through here. So, MacBoot. All right. Won my first game of head-to-head finals, having a week off. So I was thinking about holding trades this week and unloading next week. But for my rank's sake, maybe pushing a single trade or a downgrade, upgrade, 3K off Marnie to Ponga. Okay, let's see this. So, what are we looking at? We're looking at 348 rank. That's a great spot to be in. Really good spot to be in. Winning the head-to-head finals as well. Got the week off. If we got the week off, we're probably thinking about not trading, but Marnie is going to lose cash if he plays. So, the one trade to Ponga. Oh, yeah, 3K short, sorry. Then no hope for that. 4 trades left. You don't need to trade this week, but you can trade hard for the next 2 games. So I would think of that, and I would plan out for 2 trades a week for the next 2 weeks, right? And that carries you through to the grand final. Your team is looking strong overall. I'm not sold on Drinkwater, and you've got Cotter out as well on that buy too. So that next game, you're going to be missing a middle and a wing fullback. Do you have the cover? Carrigan comes in, and then Fino's your backup, and then for wing fullback, Marzu comes in, Gray is your backup there. Okay, so you got pretty good cover here. You can do some loopholing next week. I don't mind that. I'd save trades 100%. For this week, because you're in a good overall position, we might as well talk about overall, right? So for overall, I think Tungo's in a good spot for your loophole there, and Fino is the backup option. That's an easy play. You've got that set up right. Yeah, you're in a really good spot, though. 4 trades left, really good ranking. The week off, I think you're probably going to win your head-to-head league. We can talk more next week. I think we'll go in more depth next week, where we really want to maximize points. But for this week, you're in a good spot. A lot of guys we can target, but a lot of them have high break-evens anyway, so it's not a big worry. And they owe 4. So 4 trades left, 70K in the bank. Should I make trades just starting finals for head-to-head this week? So playing through to round 27. Okay, so this league is set up by someone who's insane. Because the grand final in round 27 is absolutely brutal. Now, look, 4 trades left. You're going to need a lot of those trades for the grand final if you make it, right? This is really hard because you want to win that grand final role, so you want to make sure that you make it. So for you, I'm just going to point out players who might be out that week. Harry Grant could get a rest, 26 to 27. Fanua Blake won't play 27. There's a good chance that Yo gets a rest that week as well. Cleary has a good chance of getting a rest. Hughes has a good chance of getting a rest. And then the back line should all play. Maybe Tedesco at threat. Then for the rest of the team, Galvin doesn't play 26. But everyone else should be okay. All right, so for your team, how many trades? 4 trades left, 70K in the bank. Yeah, I mean, your bench is strong. Your bench is already quite strong. Garrick's in there. Iro and Whiten are both trustworthy. Drinkwater, Campbell, Tedesco are pretty good as well. you could consider playing grey over Drinkwater. I would consider that. I would definitely use the loophole as well. So who plays first out of these guys? Let me just have a quick look. So when do the Cowboys play? They play a bit earlier, whereas the Bunnies play pretty early as well. Okay. If I was you, I would move Gray into your starting side and move Drinkwater into this loophole spot, and then use Drinkwater for emergency 5 as a loopholer. And if Drinkwater scores well, you put Simpkin. Yep, just confirming he doesn't play early. Cool. You put Simpkin. Oh wait, actually, when do Manly play? Oh, they play way earlier. No, you can't do that. Sorry, scratch that plan. Okay, we're going a different way. Do we have any Panthers here that we want to loophole? Trust Cleary and Yer, trust Hughes and Grant. Okay, you don't have many loopholes. You can't really loophole much. In that case, as is fine. I would consider starting Gray over Drinkwater. Drinkwater is safer, but Gray has big upside. So if you're the outsider, then play Gray. And if you're the favorite, play Drinkwater is probably how I'd do this. I'll quickly answer some questions here too. So first year playing fantasy, congratulations on your first year, mate. That's exciting. Only just realized my league has a prelim and grand final. Does the winner of the grand final win the league? I thought it was your league points this whole time. So if you ask different people, they're going to say different things. The winner is the best player is the player with the best overall rank usually, right? But the winner of the league is head-to-head based, and that's going to be based on the grand final winner. So there's two different play styles, Jake. There's overall coaches and there's head-to-head coaches. What you're describing is overall versus head-to-head, basically. So I would say in your league, it's probably a head-to-head league, which means grand final winner wins the league. But you can still be the best coach in your league with that overall rank. So yeah, keep that in mind. Who's going to take Matto's minutes? Could be anyone, really. We could see Sean Lane go back to lock and Kelma Tuolangi come in. But I'm not buying any shares of Parramatta right now. I would steer clear of it. Anyway, guys, that is our Pick My Team done and dusted this week. So I was going to say quicker, still an hour. They go forever, but hopefully it's good content. Look, next couple of weeks is head-to-head finals. That's the big thing. So if you're in an elimination game this week, trade hard, go hard, try to win. Don't leave anything on the table. If you have a week off, wait, don't trade, and keep them for next week. That's the key thing. Last question here for JG. Worth grabbing a player, Plath, for me because my opponent has him, and I back the rest of my squad. You can do this as long as you trust the player. Plath, yeah, you can do that. Just shut him down. That's okay. I don't mind that move. I wouldn't do it necessarily, but Plath is one that has been popping off, so it probably is a safe move to make. And no worries, Nick. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Good luck in Dream Team Finals, mate. And then cheers, legend. How can we submit via Discord still? Yeah, so jump into Discord. I'll drop the link in there right at the end. It's also the link. The link's also in the description of a lot of the videos as well. But if you jump into Discord and go to Welcome Newbies, that has the instructions for how to get into Pimp My Team. Pimp My Team runs all week round, by the way. So this is just a video we make. But if you get that upgrade, you actually get access to a bunch of channels where we can chat one-to-one. So go through your team, all that sort of stuff. And you can ask questions to, myself or other coaches who are in a similar situation to you about loopholing, send those screenshots, talk about strategy, all that sort of thing. So yeah, even after the video, you can jump in and we can just chat in those channels as well. So that's an easy play. And AMC, Gun 40, no worries, mate. No worries. We'll get to it next week then. All right, guys, thank you for jumping on. Appreciate it. Love your work. Good luck in finals. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.